old Nintendo gamer.
And son.
Shinya Takahashi and Yoshiaki Koizumi came back once again. They're basically the duo now, aren't they, for presenting these E3 Direct, well, all Directs of recent times. And they started off with something that was a little bit too long for my liking. It went on showing move after move. It's like, oh, come on, show this. Masahiro Sakurai said there's going to be a Smash Direct on 28th of June at 3 p.m. in the UK. And why are you showing all this now? Just show me the introduction of who it is and let's move on. It was Kazuya Mishima, that's right, I was right, from the Tekken series. Anybody expect this? None of us predicted it, that's for sure, Greg.
Nope, and that's kind of what I enjoyed about it. Like, I'm not that bothered about who comes to Smash, because obviously it's not my favourite game, but I do love seeing the character reveals, and we all had our predictions of who would come, and I don't think anybody thought Kazuya Mishima, but in a way I kind of like, the way I watched Nintendo's E3 was a bit tricky, because like I was working at that time, so I actually didn't really get to catch any of it until I went out to my car after work and was streaming it on my phone. But like as soon as it started, and then you see like Ganondorf being carried, I think there's I expected obviously a Smash trailer, but I think maybe like it may have fooled some people into thinking it was maybe like Breath of the Wild 2 or something.
It got me 100%.
Yeah, right. Those first 20 seconds while he's been thrown, it's like, oh, what's happening to Link here and all that, and Ganondorf being thrown in there. Yes, it got me as well.
It almost looked too good, like even better than a Switch Pro would be, I would assume. But yeah, I thought it was very funny, and I actually think the character's decent enough. Like Tekken's not overly represented on Nintendo systems. I mean, we've got Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on Wii U, and there's Tekken 3D as well on the 3DS, and I think there's a Game Boy Advance version as well. I don't think we've seen Tekken apart from that. It's a decent enough character, and like I suppose of the big fighting game franchises, maybe Mortal Kombat's the only one that's left out at this stage.
Yeah, because we have Virtua Fighter inclusions, as in is it costumes?
Costumes and the assist trophy as well. There's an assist trophy from Virtua Fighter. Mm-hmm.
So that's in there as well. Yeah, it's only that Mortal Kombat now.
Soul Calibur, don't forget Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, of course. We can have Link from Soul Calibur.
Well, I was actually thinking about that, like if they're going to do that, the Yoshimitsu would have covered both games, but then like he looks completely different in every game.
Yeah.
I suppose that would have given them an opportunity for different costumes and stuff, but he's obviously, I wouldn't be quite as recognisable probably.
What's your takeaway from the Smash Brothers inclusion there, Nick?
It's not a character I was looking forward to personally. I've only played Tekken 1 and 2 on the PS1 a long time ago, so I don't really have much history with it, or very good memories I could say with it, but I think it's going to be an interesting character to play as. It's somebody different again, like Ryu. He's going to have a different move set, so I think it's good from that perspective, and it's also good from the perspective that we're going to get a lot of Tekken content in the game, like music and stuff like that, stage. So that's it just keeps adding and adding and adding to what is undoubtedly the biggest fighting game ever. I mean, it's ridiculous how many series are represented now. So it's good. And it also means that the last character is going to be someone completely unexpected as well, I think. I think Sakurai is going to go all out on the last one. And I wouldn't actually be that surprised if we saw DLC Pack 3. But who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't be at this point. There's just so much more they could do, especially in the Nintendo sphere as well, or Capcom characters and just smaller characters from smaller series that could be included.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be.
I would say from like the business standpoint, the Nintendo will definitely be wanting DLC Pack 3 probably, but Sakurai,
he looks tired.
I don't think he'd want it. Yeah. when he was holding his Wii controller, like, oh, still need to record the the gameplay video or whatever. Yeah,
there's another job for me to do. Well, before we move on from that, does that pave the way for an Tekken inclusion on the Switch? A proper Tekken game there?
I would say why not? Yeah, maybe a remaster of something of a previous game. I don't know what they're on now. Is it 6 they're on now, Tekken?
7, I think, and it's been out for quite a while actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't honestly don't think it means anything if a character gets represented now. Like, it's not indicative of a game coming.
Yeah, not with some of the other inclusions in there, that's for sure. Joker, yes, we saw Persona 5 Strikers, but none of the Persona games have made it, have they? Not the 5 itself. So moving on, Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which is basically 1 and 2, and Life is Strange, the prequel, which is Life is Strange Before the Storm, with remastered visuals and animation, and Life is Strange True Colors coming on September the 10th. Are coming to the Switch. So there's 3 Life is Strange games there, but 1 is a collection, bundling 2 games together. I have no affinity to these, and when I saw the animation and the first part of it, I thought, that's not for me. And then when I saw the game itself, I thought, maybe as a kind of what remains of Edith Finch kind of storytelling vibe to it there. So possibly, I need to look into it more. Nick, you were nodding. Anything you'd be interested there?
No, this isn't for me. I'm going to pass on this one. No interest, unfortunately. But I guess it is fairly similar to Edith Finch, from what I understand, at least, anyway.
There's some mechanic of absorbing people's emotions or something in there, so you get an understanding from people, I suppose, and become their friend. Greg?
I wouldn't really say it's overly similar to Edith Finch, but I do think it's something that you would maybe enjoy, Lee. Like, I've played the first game and Before the Storm, and I actually had a pretty decent time with the first Life is Strange on PS3 it would have been. I played it on, and yeah, it was kind of okay. Like, and then I played Before the Storm. It must have been last year, the year before, on PS4, and I kind of hated it actually. Like the teen angst and stuff just wasn't really gelling with me. Maybe I'm getting too old again, but it was just like, it was kind of rubbing off on me the wrong way and stuff, and it sort of put me off playing any more games in that sort of like franchise or maybe even genre. But it's a good get for the Switch. Like, it's not something I really expected to be coming across.
Yeah, it was a surprise. I had a similar kind of feeling when I was playing Oxenfree a while back, when in the early days of the Switch, and that kind of teenage angst and drinking parties on the beach and all that is like, it's a long time ago. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy came up, and then there was this disclaimer across the top, and if you weren't quick enough, you would know where you could have read the disclaimer. And I didn't quite catch it, the initial, when I was watching it live, basically, the direct. And it basically says about internet connections and making sure you've got a stable online connection, because this is a cloud version of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is releasing same date, I believe, as other consoles, October the 26th. I'm put off by the character models. I'm a big Marvel superhero fan, and I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, especially the first one. And then you kind of, yes, it's in the same kind of vein, but the way make them look a little bit like Chris Pratt and co. You've gone so far off the mark here that it does nothing for me. Nick?
No, I'm not interested in Marvel or Guardians of the Galaxy, but again, this game got me. I was like, this can't be a Switch game, it looks too good. And I was convinced that we were being shown a Switch Pro game. And then it was only after the Direct that I read that it was cloud version, so I was kind of disappointed, but it did make me pay attention when I saw how good it looked. I was like, wow, this looks great. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just a cloud game, so never mind.
I had I got a video on Old Nintendo Gamers on YouTube there of what was the first one? Control, and that cloud version played absolutely awful with lots of lag. But I did dip into Hitman 3, the cloud version, once they updated it, so you could choose between performance and 60 frames a second and everything, and graphical. once I put it onto performance, that ran really well in the cloud version, which I was quite surprised with. So there's potential there for Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, Greg.
There's no potential for me. Like Nick, it's not my sort of thing. But I think Dazzy B like posted in Discord like a rumor. I don't know where he got it from, or if he was just like mucking about or whatever. But he said like on the Switch Pro crumbs, like the way it's going to work is like Switch Pro will have like good versions of games, and then if they're not able to run on the original Switch, there'll be a cloud version, which I always thought, no, that's complete nonsense. Now I'm wondering.
But yeah, there's always that lingering doubt, which, yeah, who knows? Breath of the Wild 2 cloud version. Oh dear. Which we'll be talking about later. Worms Rumble. I am quite interested in this. June the 23rd, so it's a couple of days from here, 3 days from when we're recording this podcast. And why I'm extra enticed by it is only £8.34 on the European eShop, or the UK eShop there, with 32-player cross-platform combat, and it has an extra map which is opening up Spaceport Showdown, and you get your hands on a free Nintendo Switch exclusive Patchwork Bear. And it's basically Worms that we know and love, but in real time. Greg?
What was the Patchwork Bear like? What makes that like tied to to Switch specifically?
Oh, it had it was a hat which made him look like a bear, but it was red and blue. That's it.
Yeah,
it was
I
just
got that, but
I
didn't understand why it was that. Like maybe they couldn't get like a Nintendo character in or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I actually have this game free on PS Plus, and I haven't opened it, so I don't think I'll be paying £8.34 for it, even though that is like a good price.
Nick?
I tried Worms WMD on the Game Pass and really, really didn't like it. So I don't think I'll be jumping into this either. I know it's a completely different game, but yeah, I really didn't get on with WMD at all. Played it for about an hour. Takes far too long to load certain things, and I just got fed up with it in the end. And you know, when you're playing against the computer, you have to wait so long for them to take their turn. And I know this is different, but I think I'm going to pass on the Worms franchise. It's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, the Worms is pretty much your like environment and opportunity to play it. If you're sitting there 4 players around the TV,
mm-hmm.
All doing these wee tactical moves and watching people making like silly mistakes and stuff and blowing people up and punching them away into the sea and stuff, it's hilarious. Like, but I suppose that is going back quite a few years. Like, probably talking about 20 years since I had the opportunity to do that. Like, but yeah, Rumble is definitely different as well.
Then there were 2 games which I don't care any jot about, and I don't think you two will either. Astria Ascending, and 2 Point Campus, which looks fair enough. 2 Point Campus, you know, they had 2 Point Hospital from Sega as well. It's building upon what the Hospital franchise did and taking it a little bit further. Anyone interested in those 2?
Campus a little bit. I mean, I've played 2 Point Hospital on PC, and I do quite like it. It's very reminiscent of Theme Hospital, but obviously made for the modern era. And Campus does look quite interesting, but I would not buy it on Switch. It would be a PC game, definitely.
Understandable. And I know that Greg is very excited about the next title which popped along. It started by trying to hide what it was, and not many games did try and hide what they were in this Switch in Nintendo E3 Direct. They kind of blasted up, this is what we're going to talk about, and there was no surprise for anything. This game was a surprise, as a ball came floating in from space towards Earth in Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, which has Super Monkey Ball 2, and Super Monkey Ball Deluxe coming out on October the 5th with over 300 recreated levels and 12 fun mini-games. Greg, over to you.
Well, it wasn't really a surprise. Like, that splash screen you would have given it away to me anyway, but I actually had seen the box art must have been the day before or the day before that. So we knew there was Banana Mania coming. We didn't necessarily know what it was. So to see that it was like a remaster of the first 2 games and Deluxe as well, which
is the first 2 games, isn't it? basically.
Yeah.
But it's
But I
the
think it did
first
have-
two games, and it adds some extra levels, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, there's extra content. Yeah.
So I mean, like that's pretty much what everybody wanted from from a new Monkey Ball game. So like, if anything, it was almost like the highlight of the E3 Direct for me, because like I had actually just played Monkey Ball, was it last month or the month before on the GameCube? Like I played through the expert mode again, like, and yeah, it was like I really enjoyed it, and like I'm very happy that it's coming to Switch as well. So yeah, I can't complain at all. I just slightly disappointed that like it was really great to see some of the mini games returning and stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's a little unfortunate that they're not online. It's all local.
I didn't know that. That's a shame. They're missing the boat there, Nick.
Well, I hadn't been spoiled on this. I didn't see the box art, and there was a very audible gasp when I understood that it was Monkey Ball and I heard the little banana chime. So yeah, this was by far the best announcement of the entire E3 weekend or week for me. I'm so excited for this. I never expected it. And I know it's just a remake, but it's one of my very favorite games from the GameCube, the first one at least, and to be able to play it again in HD on a modern system. I think they have the game coming out at a budget price as well, don't they? Isn't it 30? It's going to be 30? I can't remember. I'm sure I saw a price somewhere.
Yeah, I think I have it pre-ordered for around about £30.
Yeah, so perfect. That's just... I mean, I obviously want new games, but sometimes you just want that little thing that's going to, you know, hit the nostalgia right in the right spot. And this, for me, this was it. Absolutely perfect announcement. Can't wait for it.
And it's looking great.
Yes.
You know, when they showed the actual Super Monkey Ball Deluxe running, and it's like, yeah, they've done their work on the textures and everything there. Looks nice.
The only thing that I'm a little bit apprehensive about is playing it on a Pro controller, because the GameCube controller had the grooves in the analog stick, which were kind of helpful, especially in Monkey Ball, because if you press the analog stick forward, it went forward. Whereas here, if you're 1 or 2 degrees to the left or right, it's going to be a little bit awkward, I think. So, potential for frustrating controls. I hope they get it right.
Well, you're worried about playing it on the Pro controller.
The
I'm worried about
Joy-Cons
playing
are
it
gonna
with
be a
the
nightmare.
Joy-Cons. Well, that's the only option I have, and to be fair, that's what I played Banana Blitz HD with, and yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it goes, but I am a wee bit concerned because, like, even when I was playing it on the GameCube, like, there's some very, very tricky sections, and like, I do worry about how precise those controls are going to be. The only other thing I would say about the Wii trailer would be at the start of it, when they were going like all through all the games in the history of Monkey Ball, there was for a flicker of a second, I was sort of thinking, are we getting like sort of a
All of
remix of all of these games? Like, but then whenever it showed Banana Blitz as well, I thought, right, well, we've already got that. So, yeah, I'm glad it's just the first 2 games. Like, I'm not really that bothered about the rest anyway.
And there's a jump button in it, but it's off by default, and it's there for, I suppose, making the game easier for beginners and all that. You can actually turn the jump on. So I'm glad that it's off by default, which is how Super Monkey Ball, in my mind, should be played. Moving on to something that does pretty much the same from the generation before that, the N64 is back in Mario Party Superstars. And there was a little bit of me here when it was opening up the kind of reel for this, and it was going on 5 boards from classic N64 era. I thought, yes, this is going to be some DLC for Super Mario Party, and it's going to be expanded and all that. And then they dropped the bomb that this is an individual game with 5 boards and over 100 mini games from across the Mario Party series, and all modes can be played online.
It was very much a copy and paste sort of job. Like even like the graphics and stuff, it's obviously mostly just from Super Mario Party. I would love to have seen like DLC boards and stuff for Super Mario Party, but I completely understand why they haven't done it. Not just because they can milk you out of another 40 quid or whatever, but I think it's because of the controls and the way like the having to play with the Joy-Con limited people. Like people with Switch Lites were kind of screwed. You had to buy a separate Joy-Con and play on that wee tiny screen. Mario Party Superstars is all button controlled, so everybody can play it. Even so, like bringing back N60, like classic N64 boards. They say like the boards they've shown. Like I don't really remember any of them.
Same here.
It's like, so like, I don't know. I don't think I'll be getting this if I'm quite honest. But yeah, I can't really fault them for bringing it out, but it's a wee bit irritating.
I just wish they give you the option of, yeah, you can buy this as a new game if you don't have Super Mario Party, but we also have the 5-board pack for Super Mario Party as DLC. You know, give us the option of which one we want to choose. But I won't be picking this up either, Nick.
I'm glad it's not DLC, because I definitely wouldn't have picked it up if it was DLC. And I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think 5 boards is pretty bare bones. I would have preferred more. Yeah. But it's nice to see a lot of these classic games that I enjoyed on the N64 coming back, and I am kind of interested in it. It's good that it's online. That's another reason why I might get it. But yeah, I find the 5 boards is a little bit lackluster, because there was definitely like 6, I think, in the first 64 game, and they were all pretty good and pretty varied from what I remember. But
I'm trying to think of Super Mario Party. There's only about 5 boards in that as well, isn't there? Yeah. So.
You sort of think, like, with the amount of stuff that it takes to sort of like make a game and stuff, to like make a slightly different shaped board and a few different like outcomes and stuff.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it would be that challenging. Like, and you sort of think if they do bring DLC out for this version and they like neglected the previous version, that's gonna upset a few people as well, I think.
Yeah, I'm already upset. Moving on to the biggest. Well, is it the biggest? That's what I'm going to ask you. Is it the biggest for you? Nick has already said Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is his biggest excitement from this Nintendo E3 presentation. But Metroid is back, and the dread is real. October the 8th as well. Pre-orders are open on the eShop if you want to go and splash the cash already. It's £50 to download there. The first 2D Metroid game with a new story in 19 years, and apparently this is going to conclude this 2D Metroid saga, which is, Metroid and then Samus Returns, Super Metroid, Fusion, and then this is the 5th one in the kind of saga, concluding it. Looks, visually, and I've heard so many people on Twitter slate it for being, it's a 2D game for 50 quid. I think it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely delightful there. I'm really concerned about things that people were concerned with Mercury Steam's first Samus Returns, and whether or not they're going to fix issues that people had with it, especially the melee combat and stuff like that. But it looks pretty much, I didn't play Samus Returns, it looks pretty much more of the same from my perspective, and this isn't a game I'll be picking up. How about you, Greg?
Well, firstly, I probably will be picking it up. And I was glad to see it appear. I found it funny when the name Dread came up on the screen because it's one of those games that was rumoured for a long time and just never materialised. So I think Nintendo were having a bit of a laugh with us there, but I really enjoyed that. In terms of visuals, I don't think it looks beautiful, which is one problem. Like, it's not ghastly by any means, like, but it's whenever like the trailer first began for a wee minute or two, like I sort of thought it might be like a sequel to Other M, because obviously you're like, it was showing a viewpoint sort of behind Samus and stuff, and I thought, maybe this is like a 3D, like a proper sequel, maybe like Team Ninja on it again or something. So like initially I was maybe a wee bit disappointed that it was another 2D Metroid, but I mean, Samus Returns was pretty decent. Like it's a 7 out of 10 sort of game for me, but like I enjoyed it and I'd be up for more. Not overly confident with Mercury Steam, but like I think they'll probably produce another solid enough entry. I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if it's another sort of 7 out of 10 sort of range game, but like I'll definitely be picking it up to play it. And while the visuals don't look particularly impressive or something, there is something to be said for, and this is sort of like true of a lot of Nintendo games really, they're very like clean, and there's like a lot of like clarity. It's always easy to see. Like I see stuff like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is getting good reviews and stuff. It's not my sort of game, but like I see a lot of stuff happening on the screen, and there's a lot of noise, like a lot of visual noise around, and it's like when you play like a Mario game or whatever, like it's always like very crisp and clean and clear, and I actually really appreciate that more than going for a big visual impact just for the sake of it. Yeah, but I'm actually looking forward to this. Not really sure about the N-E design, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm not too sure about the N-E design myself. The first time I saw it, I was like, it's just a kind of, generic, that's the word I'm looking for, cliche I was going to say as well, kind of futuristic robot chasing you down. And I can't say that in games that have done it in the past as well, I like that mechanic of being chased down all the time and put under time pressure. I know this is in specific areas which may mitigate that kind of feeling, but I'm not. That's one reason why I'm put off it as well, is that kind of dread feeling. It's not going to scare me in that dread feeling, but it's just going to annoy me. How about you, Nick?
I think generic is a good word to describe my first impression, because I thought the visuals were pretty bad when it was first revealed, and I do think it looked very generic. I thought it was like, well, Shadow Complex was 2008 or 9 or whatever that was, and I thought it looked very much like Shadow Complex. So after the director wasn't that hot on it, but after watching the Treehouse segments, I became sold on the game. I think it does actually look quite good visually. It's not great, but it's not as bad as it seemed in the first reveal. And yeah, it seems like there's a bit of variation in the types of worlds as well, because that whole sort of metallic thing didn't really grab me at all. But they did explore a little bit on the Treehouse and show some other parts of it as well. So it's not only that. And yeah, I'm up for it. I haven't played a 2D Metroid since Super Metroid and skipped the 3DS one, skipped the GBA ones. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'll be picking it up for sure on day one.
What about the amiibo? Will you get the matching amiibo
absolutely
there?
Absolutely not. No.
Not sure you'll be able to get the amiibo.
No,
already sold out.
Yeah. Oof, the scalpers already, are they? Of course they are, yes. The two, I quite like I don't like the N-E design, but the Samus amiibo is looking pretty flash as well. I quite like that. Then we had a quick blast through another couple of games, Just Dance 2022, and I know you don't care about that one, but Cruisin' Blast, which is a Nintendo. I can't remember who the developers of the Cruisin' games are. Midway, that's right. It is a Nintendo franchise, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Nintendo owns some stake in it anyway. And they're arcade games, and it's coming to the Switch. How do you feel about that? You did mention, Greg, that you were looking at Ridge Racer. Will this fill the gap?
I don't. To be fair, it looks pretty awful, but there were some like Excite Truck elements in it. I think the way like the cars and stuff blasted off things and were suspended up in the air for quite a while. Graphically, it looks very poor. Like seeing like unicorns and stuff going around is very, very weird. I don't think it will probably review particularly well either. I'll see how it turns out. I've actually never played a cruising game before.
I can't remember which one it was, and it's many years ago. I did play one in the arcade, in an actual arcade cabinet where you had got the steering wheel and all that and sat down. It's generic again, using that same word to describe Metroid. Cruisin' Blast is a generic racer. But they do say, Nick, it's the arcade smash hit. So, potential.
I thought this was a pretty good announcement and unexpected again. Like, it seems like Nintendo have bringing a lot of old franchises back in the C3, and this was one I definitely didn't expect. Cruis'n USA is on the N64 is awful. Really, really bad game. But Cruis'n World and Cruis'n Exotica are both pretty good. I rented,
were they on the N64?
Both on the N64.
As well?
I rented the last one, and I owned World, and World was really good. I mean, I guess the closest thing I could say is it's just a classic arcade racer. You know, you've got a wide road. You go from the start to the end. It's not on circuits. And you have to, it's kind of like Horizon Chase Turbo in that way that you have to sort of pass everybody. You start last and you have to pass everybody, basically. The one on the Wii was absolutely horrendous. I think that was just called Cruising.
That rings a bell, yeah. I never played it.
That was really, really bad. But I think this looks great. I thought the trailer was really fun. I thought it showed off a lot of different places, different types of vehicles and stuff like that. Very, very, very arcadey. So I'll definitely be up for giving this a go.
It might have a bit of trouble. You know, you got the Asphalt 9 Legends, and that is a free-to-download game as well, and drop in. It might have a bit of trouble going up against that, because it's kind of doing the similar thing.
Hopefully it'll be a eShop only £20 release. Then I will be. If it's going to be a full price £50, you can forget about it. There's no way I'm going to get it for that.
There is a physical edition coming.
So then that might mean they're going for a high price, which is not great. But it does look good. It does look fun.
Yeah, 35 are the maximum, please, Nintendo. Moving on to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and a new Power Awakens set, which is a kind of an open-world RPG set in the Dragon Ball Z universe. None of us are excited about that, boys. No.
Nope.
Then we'll move on to something I'm very excited about, and even purchased my 2 Nintendo Switch Online vouchers to download and pre-order Mario Golf Super Rush before it drops this coming Friday. And the one thing that kind of pushed me over the edge was the free updates, including courses and characters. Free updates, not DLC. They might announce DLC further down the line, who knows. But one of the courses that was shown was New Donk City itself, so we'll be smacking balls around the city. Nick, are you picking it up?
Well, I won't. I definitely won't be smacking balls around the city. But yeah, I'm gonna buy a voucher and get this, and probably Skyward Sword. I still need to think about the second game, what that's going to be. But again, like, I already know. I didn't need to see the trailer. I knew it was going to be great, but very, very strong showing in the treehouse of this game. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like there's a ton of content already there. There's lots of different game modes. What's the special mode called? Speed Rush.
Battle, the Speed Rush, and then there's the battle version of it.
Great.
Isn't it? Yeah.
The battle version looks great. The actual controls look, I would say, like a little bit of a step up from Toadstool Tour and the 3DS one. It seems like they're very similar, but it seems like you have a little bit more in terms of what you can do in terms of options. You've got more visual. You can sort of see where your ball's going to go after it lands and stuff like that. You can obviously, like with the other one, you can apply backspin and forward spin and stuff like that, and bend your shots. And yeah, it looks so good. Like, I'm very, very excited. I really enjoyed the 2K game, just as a straight golf game, again, because of the sheer amount of content it had. Unlimited number of courses, and really excellent controls. But this is something that's always been a little bit different. It plays a really good game of golf, definitely, but you always just get that sort of that bit more. I really hope there's going to be like a mini golf game, like on the N64 one, where you had to, there's like putting only sort of thing. That would be good. I'd love to see ring shot mode as well.
Ring shot mode is
I've always enjoyed that.
I would love to see come back.
There's a lot of the RPG mode looks to be quite in depth as well. They showed a bit in the treehouse about how you can build up your ability. Like, there's a lot of mini games you have to do. So the one they showed was you had to get a shot within like a circle and get points, and like if you got the high score, then your character's ability accuracy would go up. So it does look like there's going to be a lot of content, and I'm very, very excited to finally get it and play it, because it's been, I did have the 3DS one, but I barely played it. So Toadstool Tour is the last one I really dug my teeth into, so can't wait for this one.
There was a slight niggle before I pre-ordered, and I think it was the trio stuff that kind of sold me on. I thought, right now, I'm definitely going to get it, regardless of this niggle if it doesn't quite come through. And that is the punishment for mistiming your swing doesn't seem to be as strong as it would be in a normal kind of golf game, but I could be wrong. They could, there is, in the kind of shot gauge, there's like 2 red kind of arrows which kind of come out at the top of the shot gauge, which kind of indicate that if you get your timing wrong, maybe the ball will swing one way or the other as a punishment, so you'll end up in a bunker or whatever, off out of bounds. Greg, do those concerns bother you?
Well, I've actually only heard the concerns from like you and Darren and stuff on Discord. Like I haven't watched the Treehouse or anything, and obviously like the gauge is a little bit different to how the Mario Golf games normally work, because obviously like you usually just like build the power up, hit it at the top, and then it would come back down again. Obviously it's a bit different this time. It goes up and then it seems to like start again from the bottom, and then you have to time it that way. So it kind of like works effectively the same sort of way by the looks of things, but it just visually it's a wee bit different. But like I haven't watched enough to sort of have those same concerns, and to be honest I'm actually not concerned, because I think it's going to play great. Like Mario Golf games have always been amazing, and if anything I think this is maybe like the most excited I've been to get my hands on a game for a long time. Like, and it's really weird because like I'm not really into golf in real life or anything, but the Mario Golf games are fantastic, and what we've seen like the New Donk City and stuff that's going to be coming and all this, it just looks really, really good. And I think there's going to be so much stuff here, and the fact that you can play with like button controls, and then there's like going to be motion control option as well. Like it's going to be great. Like I can't wait for it.
Yeah, even if it doesn't punish you too much for doing a bad shot or mistiming, it's still those concerns that I did have are just gone out now, and really, really excited to get on the golf course with you boys. Yeah. It's
hopefully.
Hopefully. Then moving on to Monster Hunter Stories 2, they just showed more of what Wings of Ruin is about. This is coming on July the 9th. There's a free demo, which is quite nice. They did drop on June the 25th, which is the same day as Mario Golf Super Rush's launch. They're trying to take away from the golfing there with some RPG. And your progress then carries over if you do play the demo, and I'm sure my son will, because he's been loving Monster Hunter Rise. I think he loves that kind of world enough to get him into this cartoon RPG as well. And there's going to be some co-op multiplayer quests and battles, which sounds a lot of fun, Nick.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I didn't end up getting Rise in the end, but the more they've shown of this game, the more appealing it's become to me. I do much prefer the sort of straight RPG aspect of this game. And if I was to get one of the two, I think it would probably be this one first. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I'll definitely download the demo and try it.
It's looking really nice.
It looks really nice, yeah, as well. That's true, yeah.
Which is a good selling point. Greg?
Visually, I'd probably find it more appealing than Rise, but yeah. I'll not be for me. Like I won't be picking it up.
I was excited by the next announcement, which is WarioWare Get It Together, which comes out on September the 10th. Pre-orders are open once again. £50 on the eShop there. Oh no, sorry, it's £40. There's a £10 discount for it being smaller, maybe micro game sessions. But they've added in the inclusion of you can play as 3. This was in the Treehouse they showed later. You basically, before you start a session, you choose 3 characters, and then you go through as you choose the kind of session you're going to go through. You choose those 3 characters, and then it randomly chooses a character for that micro game. So every time you play that micro game, it randomly chooses a character. So you have to play that micro game slightly different to get the outcome that's desired to successfully win that game. And you're going to have, unfortunately, with 2 Joy-Con controllers, I don't think there's the option here to use Pro controllers. At least they haven't said, but 2 players can play together using wireless play, no online. It's a shame, Greg.
As far as I know, I think Pro Controller does work. I think, yeah, like I was excited to see WarioWare come on back. I'm actually slightly nervous because it looks a little off, and like I suppose it's the same with Metroid and like one of the other games that we're probably going to talk about a little later as well. Visually, it looks a little off, and the way the minigames work with like you controlling a character now, I'm nervous about it. I have it pre-ordered, and I think it's probably still going to be a lot of fun, but I haven't seen the Treehouse like the rest of the stuff, so I'm just going off the trailer that we saw on the Direct, and don't know how it's going to turn out.
I think the Treehouse actually sold me more on it. You know, it looks far better from. It was only like a 10-minute section in the Treehouse as well, so it's well worth checking out. The way that you do choose those 3 characters before you start the level, and then you've got the random character, it does do something different, which is quite interesting. Nick?
I also didn't watch the Treehouse for this one, but the trailer was enough to sell me on it. I think it looks great. I probably won't get it on day one at full price, to be honest, but I've always enjoyed a decent WarioWare game. I played through the DS one on 3DS Virtual Console fairly recently, within the last year, I think, and I really enjoyed that. WarioWare Touched. It was a great game.
Yeah, it is a good one.
So, as long as it follows that sort of pattern in how it's designed, especially with single player, then I'd be well up for going through it, for sure. I've always enjoyed them.
Yeah, they're always fun, and this is something for me and my son, you know. I think it would be good to play through completely in 2 players.
I think that's one of the selling points for me as well, because I think like my son, he's 5 now, and I think we might be able to play through some of this stuff together. I think he'll probably have a laugh at some of the stuff that's going on, because WarioWare games are generally pretty humorous.
Yeah, lots of slapstick stuff that kids will laugh at, and adult humor as well in there. Mixed in. Nick, I think this next one is for you and nobody else. Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'm not looking forward to this.
It looked very, very rough in the direct, didn't it? When they actually started showing gameplay.
Got into the open world and running through with the monsters there. Yeah.
But no, I'm still looking forward to it. I'll probably get this. I really enjoyed Tokyo Mirage Sessions. This, especially the UI, is heavily borrowed from that.
That UI is so cluttered. That's another thing which scares me. It's like, you spend 10 hours trying to learn the kind of in-depth kind of mechanics of the basic UI there.
But I mean, I enjoyed Tokyo Mirage Sessions a lot. It was one of the best, one of the only RPGs on the Wii U. I enjoyed the DS game Shin Megami Tensei 4. This, obviously, that didn't have open world exploration. That was all done in menus, and then you had the dungeons to go through. Whereas this has the dungeons and the open world. So, I mean, I'm definitely up for giving it a go. I don't know if I'll get it on day one, but I am looking forward to it. I wouldn't mind playing 3 first, that's just come out, the remaster, and maybe going back to 4 before I started it, but
on the 3DS.
On the 3DS, yeah, but I am looking forward to this, yeah.
And then another quick one, Danganronpa Decadence, which is 4 physical games from the Danganronpa series. I played the director, I can't remember his name, of this, and the writer from Danganronpa. He released World's End Club. I played the demo on Switch. That was quite interesting and took a lot of that kind of school children stuck together, and you have to kill everyone. They're all dying, basically. You have to find out who the murderer is, or be the murderer yourself and work and pair up with people to get through. They're kind of visual novels, basically. That the series is not for me. Any of you too?
No, not really.
Don't think it's for me either. Like, I listen to Easy Allies quite a bit, and like Ben Moore would always go on about Danganronpa now and again. Like, and I was actually always curious to see what it was, because I actually never looked into it. So I was actually surprised to see that there seemed to be some sort of like Phoenix Wright elements and stuff in it.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be for me. Like, but I mean, there's a brief collection of stuff there.
Yeah, there's 4 games, and the board game I hear from Nintendo World Report is not very good, but it's the first 3 games at least more traditional kind of visual novels with a little bit of Phoenix Wright thrown in. And darker, of course. Project Zero. This is the Wii U port we all didn't know was coming or cared about. Made in the Blackwater. Did you play this on Wii U, Greg?
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing the demo.
I had pre-ordered the is it collector's edition or whatever it's called? I'm not sure, but it comes with a box, and I think there's an art book and stuff in it. So like it was £50, so it wasn't too bad a price for all that stuff. But the game itself is not very good. I was quite bored when I was playing it for the most part, and the combat. Obviously you're using the camera, and like that's what the series is known for, but it was in many areas it was very slow paced and boring, and like it's not particularly like chilling or scary. Like, so I don't know, it probably doesn't have a great deal going for it, but I think it is a budget release.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah, I'll probably skip this. It's a shame we didn't get Xenoblade X, but never mind.
Yeah.
On Nintendo Land.
The Wii U port we did want. Yeah. Doom Eternal's getting the Ancient Gods DLC, which is part 1. It's out now. And then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I believe you pre-ordered that as well, Greg.
Pre-ordered in spite of how rough it looked from the footage in the direct. It does look like a decent step down from what the other versions look like, and I'm slightly worried about it, and I was going to wait and see what the performance and stuff was like, but there's just a part of me that actually really wants it, so I'm going to take a leap of faith, and I had a few points on whatever website it was that I pre-ordered it from, so I've got like the physical version for just under £30, so we'll see how it goes. Like, obviously I've played the game before, so I know what to expect, but yeah, very rough looking.
We were expecting this to be hitting the same price point as the PS4 version, which was $34.99, and then on the eShop it's $39.99.
Yeah, that was like, I couldn't really, well, I could believe it. Like, I was almost scared that it was going to be more than that, but like, I thought like at worst it would be $34.99, but yeah, the fact that it came at $39.99 meant that I definitely wasn't going to download it digitally, which I initially planned. So to get it for about £30 was palpable.
Nick?
I'll be getting this on Xbox.
Yeah.
It looks horrendous on the Switch, to be honest. You could see it straight away that you could tell the lighting was really bad. It was really low res, and the character models were nowhere near as good, and the area that they were skating through was very, very clearly a downgrade from the PS4 and even from the PS4 and Xbox One. So I will be.
To be fair, it was like even when it was in like the sort of like the character select menu, like seeing the sort of like the way the character looked compared to like the background, so it looked a little off. Like there's something just I don't know. It's going to be okay.
There's this edge to the character as well, which kind of tries to make them stand out as if they've added some sort of like cell shaded edge shine to it. Yeah, it did look weird. Then there was Strange Brigade, a third-person adventure. I'm not interested in this in the slightest. Shout if you want me to stop. Mario and Rabbids was then shown, and then my game of the Direct. Something I've always loved all the way back. I didn't play them on the GBA because I never owned a GBA. But I played them subsequently. I believe I must have played them on my brother's GBA as well, just to try them out. But I played them subsequently on other systems, especially the Wii U. And I played the DS versions of all these. Advance Wars 1 and 2 are making a return, including the campaigns from 1 and 2, which is Black Hole Rising. Reboot Camp is called December the 3rd, which is a little bit further away than I thought. When I saw this, first of all, the plasticky nature, I loved the pixel art. I was put off by it. Once I watched it in the Treehouse live and some side-by-side comparisons that I think it was GameSpot did, or at least Nintendo Life did one as well, of the pixelated graphics versus the kind of new plastic models. I'm quite liking what they've done with it, and this is way forward. So this also is adding in online 2 players, which has been... Nintendo basically said this is happening. Yes, you will have online for 2 players, but local will have the option to have 1 to 4 players. I'm hoping it's going to go deep into what like Wargroove you did with campaign builders and map editors and all that, so we can make our own map and then fight people online with them. I'm hoping it takes it that far as well, but I think this is a day one purchase, and this is where my second Nintendo Switch Online voucher will probably end up going. Nick?
Yeah, I was very happy to see this, obviously. I've never played either of them on the GBA. I thought it looked, the art style was good. It's got that a little bit too maybe chibi, let's say, for me. I would prefer the pixel art. But you mentioned Wargroove, and we've got Wargroove already, so we've got that sort of pixel art style. So Way Forward are good at this style, I think. And I'm glad that they're the ones behind it, because it's a very good studio who've got a lot of very solid games. And I'm sure it's going to be great. I wonder if we'll get any new content. Online is good. But yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's probably, I know people who've already gone through it probably don't want to pay 50 quid, but it's interesting that it's not Intelligent Systems making it, which means Fire Emblem is probably somewhere in develop. Some kind of Fire Emblem is somewhere in development. But no, it's definitely good to have this series come back again with cruising and WarioWare. This was very unexpected, but not against it at all, for sure. Very, very pleased.
I think the £50 price tag was kind of shocking. First of all, I was like, "Oh my god, why have they done that?" And then when you think about it, I have played through these again before, and I would play through them again. There's like 40 hours of campaign between the two games there, easily. You know, you could get 60 hours out of them, and then that's not including the online stuff. Wonderful little strategy games for you, Greg.
Well, I played Dual Strike a wee bit on the DS and couldn't really get into it, and it's the only one I've tried. So, I mean, I'm actually really glad that it's back for everybody that wants it. The price is definitely too much for me to want to give it another opportunity, because I still don't think I'll probably really enjoy it that much. But the best part of the announcement for me was the fact that seeing these like franchises all return, like Metroids, WarioWare, it gives you that hope that things like that we haven't seen for a while, like Punch-Out, Pilot Wings, and the other ones that shan't be named. That it gives us hope, like, and that's really good.
In the wings. And then Shinya Takahashi and Kazumi came on one more last time and said, right, we're handing over to another big man. Eiji Aonuma was put on for the little Zelda section, which opened with Age of Calamity Wave 1 DLC, which is called Pulse of the Ancients. Showed a playable Guardian, showed a playable Master Cycle Zero for Zelda to ride. And controversially, Greg, we'll find out later, were those double hook shots with Link was flailing around.
Well, like, I initially just pretty much ignored this little section of the direct, and then like because of the quiz, I had to go back and watch it just in case. And yeah, it was controversial, but yeah, like I haven't got Age of Calamity, so don't care about DLC for it.
No, same here. Nick?
Yeah, I'll get into it eventually, hopefully when a Switch Pro comes out, but the frame rate's so bad, I'm not playing it at the minute.
Skyward Sword HD was shown, and we all know about that, so that's July the 16th. They just basically said, hey, that was their kind of advert basically for it, wasn't it? Don't forget, this is coming. Then he said, there's nothing else coming to Nintendo Switch. Don't get your hopes up for what I thought, and it was talked into in my own head that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remasters would be on the way, but maybe they just don't want to take the thunder from Skyward Sword at the moment. And then they broke another promise, which was that it's exclusively for Switch games when they showed us another Game & Watch, which is not on the Switch. Including Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the original Game Boy, all on one, identical to the Mario one, basically, except the colours, which has got more green rather than the red and gold, and has a playable version of Vermin, which is like a whack-a-mole game with Link as the playable character. $50 that is, Greg.
In terms of like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, obviously the Breath of the Wild sequel is supposed to be coming out next year, so like if the Switch is probably intended to go on for a few more years yet, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker will appear after that at some point. So like, even though I said there's nothing else coming, I think that's just in terms of like the anniversary year for the Switch. So I think we will get those eventually. The Game & Watch thing, I thought, yeah, I suppose it's pretty cool. Like the Mario one was kind of cool in a way, but like the games on it are absolute trash. Like I don't want to play any of them. Like, so yeah.
In terms of that, yeah, I think I'd prefer to pick up the Mario one. It's more iconic game that you can just pick up and play. I wouldn't want to play Zelda 1 again, Nick.
If my wife got me this as a 35th anniversary present, I would divorce her. Just awful. I cannot believe that they thought this. Oh yeah, after everything they did for Mario's 35th anniversary, I had no interest in the Game & Watch. It's not for me. I don't want to play NES Super Mario Brothers again. But we got the 3D All Stars, we got the Super Mario 35, and this just I don't know. I think it's terrible. I think the games are trash. They're not trash, but they are definitely not the best Zelda games. Not even close. They're not even remastered. They've just stuck a clock over everything, which is weird.
They've also the Link's Awakening. It should be in that kind of 4:3 aspect that the Game Boy screen is. It's stretched. Mm-hmm. It looks a little bit weird as well. Yes, it's there to fill the screen, but it didn't look like that in the past.
Yeah, just really, really disappointing announcement. And I think evidence that Nintendo just doesn't really care that much about Zelda compared to Mario. So yeah. I'll enjoy not playing Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess and Wind Waker again, and focus on
honestly Skyward Sword.
Skyward
Sword's what I want it like.
Exactly.
So
me too. I'm
delighted
happy with this. So yeah, it was kind of disappointing overall. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely won't be picking up that piece of plastic for 50 quid with a few ROMs on it. But I think you'll see a big difference in the number of sales between the Mario Game & Watch and the Zelda Game & Watch.
I don't think the Mario one sold all that. Well, I have no numbers, but you can still pick it up from everywhere. You just pop to a shop and they've got, and the Zelda one
will be very, very cheap in a few months.
Yeah. Good point taken. Yeah. Breath of the Wild 2 was then shown, which is another highlight, of course. Eiji Aonuma came out after they showed the 2022 release date and said, "We are aiming," this is exact words, "we are aiming for a 2022 release," which doesn't instill me with any sort of sense of confidence that it will come in 2022, but who knows, they're aiming. Let's hope they hit the target. What are your takeaways from that trailer, which I thought was wonderful, Greg?
Biggest disappointment of the Direct for me. I knew we were going to see Breath of the Wild 2, like it was inevitable. I expected to see more of it, and I expected to see something a little different than what we got. Maybe they're still too early to show some more stuff, but I expected to see like a trailer showing like dungeons maybe, and like maybe some of the classic items and weapons back again and stuff. Maybe that's foolish of me to expect that sort of stuff, because what I'm seeing is effectively Breath of the Wild 2. But it honestly, it didn't really show enough, and it didn't really get like the pulse racing or enough excitement there. Like I don't really know what else to say. Like it showed like in terms of abilities, it showed the stasis again. Like
it looked like that was more of a rewind feature rather than a pause and then hit and push back. It looked like there was some sort of feature that would allow you to rewind time.
Yeah.
Which was evident in that dripping water as well. When Link turned into a dripping water and then went up as in a reverse water drop. So there seems to be some sort of rewind time feature as part of whatever's happened to his arm. If you noticed, his arm was all skew if after touching whoever that evil entity is underneath Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, it's going to be a fantastic game. Like I have no doubt about that. I just wanted to see more. Really.
Did you notice the similarities between Skyward Sword?
Yes, I did.
The initial kind of reveal of Link diving
down
in exactly the same kind of animation as he does as he's jumping off one of the, I forgot what those birds are called, from and descending into the lower ground. Yeah, Loftwing. Thank you. And then there's also one of the kind of temple golems, which are like stone beasts, but not the stone golems that are in Breath of the Wild. But there's like a return to some enemies or friends that looked a lot reminiscent of enemies and friends that appeared in Skyward Sword as well. And it's like, wow, there's some crossover here, maybe, Nick.
Yeah, I think I noticed that as well. I think, like Greg, I thought the whole thing was pretty disappointing, to be honest. I thought the whole Zelda section was disappointing. Firstly, because they're clearly way behind on development. I thought it would be early 2022 at the latest, but I don't think it will be now. I thought the trailer compared to Breath of the Wild's E3 16 and Nintendo Switch 2017 presentation was very boring compared to those two incredible trailers. I don't think it showed enough, and I don't really think it showed anything that interesting either. It looks like we're still in Hyrule, but with floating islands above it, which is kind of disappointing, to be honest. I would have liked to see a whole new world and not just, retrace the steps that we've already been to. Now, that might change if it's a long time in the past or the future, then that would be interesting to see. But if they have basically copied and pasted the Breath of the Wild world and stuck some new stuff in it, then I'm probably not going to be that excited for it, to be honest. Visually, I don't think it looked that much better than Breath of the Wild. There doesn't seem to be that much of a big step up, even though that's a Wii U game. And yeah, just overall, it didn't get me in any sort of way that the original game did. But that might be because expectations are too high.
That 2017 trailer with the music kicking in, that was just a thing of beauty, I know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Zelda crying in the end. But no, this did get me in terms of, I really want to get back into this place. I want to really get back into this Breath of the Wild Hyrule, and what kind of shocked me was that we were all expecting to be underground, when we saw the initial trailer, and now they've gone, forget being underground. It's completely opposite. So we'll see where that takes us. I just need to see more, you both do.
I think that would help, yeah.
Well, I don't think we can completely rule out underground bits as well, because obviously the bits of stuff like the islands in the sky or whatever, if they've been ripped out of Hyrule or whatever, there may be areas to go in under where they've emerged from.
And one of those areas, if you look at one of the stills where Link is holding on to the glider, and in the I think there's it's one of the stills where the stone golem comes up and there's got an encampment of bokoblins on top of it, which I thought that's quite a nice little touch. In the background's Death Mountain. There's no volcanic activity on Death Mountain anymore. It's like, can we actually get into Death Mountain as a potential dungeon there? So yes, you might be right there, Greg.
The thing, my takeaway really is you have the sequel to one of the most revered games of all time. Some people say it's the best game they've ever played and stuff. And you have a remake of a late Wii title. And which one am I more excited for at the moment? And it's definitely Skyward Sword HD.
Yeah, me too.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say I'm the opposite, but I won't be picking Skyward Sword HD up, sorry. So your overall feelings, a little ranking of how Nintendo did out of 10 for this Nintendo E3 2021 Direct, Nick.
I think overall I'd probably give it a 7. It definitely wasn't their best presentation ever. It definitely wasn't the worst. I think it was the best of E3 by far. And I think the thing that I was pleased most about was that this year is unlike the previous 2 years, is very, very, very stacked with games. It's nice to see them bringing back some old franchises. There were a couple of really good surprises. Zelda was disappointing. Overall, the whole Zelda section was disappointing overall. I think while Metroid Dread is a really good announcement, I do feel like it was lacking that one big announcement where everybody gets really excited. I don't think Metroid Dread was quite that. But yeah, overall it was solid. It was very solid. I enjoyed it. I had audible gasps at Monkey Ball and at Advance Wars and at Metroid as well. Didn't expect either of them. But I mean, WarioWare, Advance Wars, these are good franchises, but they're not, I don't think, the sort of the stuff that's going to push the Switch forward and keep it selling. For Nintendo fans, it's great, for sure. Yeah. but there's nothing that's that sort of the next level, I would say, and that's what it was lacking. And it looks like this year is going to be lacking that type of game, which is fine for me. I had a look at like the release list, and I'm surprised at how many games I'm going to be picking up this year. It's a good, it's more than 10. It's, it's very, very, it's going to be expensive, but I'm looking forward to it.
Greg, your thoughts?
Pretty much in agreement. I would have went with the 7 out of 10 as well. Like Nick says, it was missing that one sort of like magical big moment. Obviously, we knew about Breath of the Wild 2 already. Like if that had been the first time we had heard of the sequel, for example, that would have been a big moment, bigger moment than it is. I think if they'd shown something like a wee trailer at the end for Odyssey 2 or something, that would have been a big hit. But what they did show was great, and all those returning franchises, like, very happy with that. And when you sort of like break it all down and do look at the release schedule, like I have like Mario Golf and Tony Hawk both coming next Friday. Then next month got Skyward Sword HD. Month after that, No More Heroes 3. Month after that, WarioWare, and then in October, Metroid Dread. So like, that's more games than I've been excited for quite a large chunk of the Switch's life, actually. So like, the year's looking really good for me. There aren't those big hitters that we talked about, but like Mario Golf I'm really excited for. So there's plenty of stuff there to play, like, and that's all I can really ask for, especially after like we're still in a pandemic, so yeah, like can't really complain. Like, and like you say, like Nintendo was the only one at E3 that really had an exciting showing for me. So yeah, all good.
I think initially after the reveal, I was like 6 out of 10. But I have warmed to a lot of the stuff that didn't quite take my fancy, like Advance Wars. I was like, it's great, it's back, but it's not looking. And then after watching the Treehouse after it, I really warm into it. And then so for me, it's another 7 out of 10 as well. I agree with everything you said, but it is really, really nice to get those smaller franchises. Yes, there's nothing big shown here, but it is so delightful to get WarioWare back in Advance Wars, even Super Monkey Ball, just to get the original ones back there that played the best out of all of them. But little drops like a Cruisin' Blast and Worms Rumble, it didn't look like it was running too well, but a little bit of extra information about Mario Golf Super Rush there, all tipped it over the edge with that last extra details of what we're going to be doing in Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2, whatever that's called. They did say they held back the name as well, which is one of your 20 questions, which we'll be playing later on, Greg, because it will give too much of the game away. So that's the reason why they didn't show us the name. And we all lost the point, I think. Is there anything they didn't show? One of the big things they didn't show, obviously, were like Bayonetta 3, Metroid 4, all those kind of games, but they didn't show No More Heroes 3, and then they showed it in the Treehouse.
Yes.
And people have been...
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. People have... I haven't seen the Treehouse footage of No More Heroes 3 myself, but people have been rather skeptical at its visual clarity and the frame rate it is holding at present, apparently, Nick.
I also didn't watch the No More Heroes. I watched most of the Treehouse, but I didn't watch that because they didn't announce it. It came on.
No.
Yeah, it just came on. I think it was close to the end. It just came on. There was a new Japanese trailer on the day of the Direct for No More Heroes 3, and it looks great. Like, it really looks great. I think there's nothing to worry about there. Maybe it'll have a few problems at launch with the frame rate, but I'm sure they'll get ironed out over time. I'm still looking forward to it. I just downloaded the second game, and I'm just going to start that before it comes out. So, yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah.
10% discount, yeah?
The same as what it was when it released on the Switch.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.